Hey guys, all right, this is Darkblade right here. This is my second attempt at recording this. The first one went well. Um, OBS kind of messed up, so we're gonna go do this a second time. All right. So today we're gonna start this series of a tutorial or series of videos, overall teaching you how to make your own Discord bot and using the PNW API with that, so that by the end of this series, you should know how to make a Discord bot and use it with the PNW API, uh, to do stuff. So, um, we're gonna be doing the entire thing in Python. So, if you don't like Python, there might be a JavaScript version later on. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it. So we're gonna go and get started. So, first thing we're gonna do is that we're gonna download Python. So we're going to www.python.org. All links will be in the description, by the way. So just click on that, it'll take you right there. So once you get to python.org, you want to go to downloads, click on that, it's going to load you, take you there. And then depending on your operating system, it's already going to have a download ready for you. So just click the latest version. As of this video, it's 3.9.7. Yours might be different. It might be like 3.9.8, whatever. That's fine. Just download it. It'll still work. Uh, Once that's downloaded, in my case, I had it download in the previous video, so I don't need to download again. So once you're done downloading that, you just want to click this. I already have um, Python installed, so you just modify, blah blah blah. It's just gonna take you through this whole thing where you're installing Python. Um, really nothing else. It's just kind of all set up for you. You don't really have to change anything about installing it. So once you get done with that, you have Python installed. So we're gonna go check and see if it works. So how do you check and see if it works? Well, you want to pull up your command prompt. Now there are multiple ways to pull up your command prompt. If you go to your search bar by going down here or pressing the Windows key, you just want to type in CMD and you're gonna have your command prompt right here. Or if you want to be a tech nerd, you want to do your Windows key plus X. That's gonna bring this up. So once you do that, command prompt's right here. Boom, just like that. But since we already got one pulled up, we're just gonna go and use this one. So to see if you have Python installed and that it's working correctly, you just want to type in py and then press enter. And if you see this, it shows the version, blah blah blah, and your four basic commands, and then you know it's working, and you're in the Python module now. So I do help, um, put in parentheses, all that. It's giving me an error because this jumble of characters is not something in the documentation. So, but at least we know it works. So that's the good thing. So now, I don't know why I exit out of that. We're just gonna pull up the command prompt again, and you'll see if you go to your install, when you went through your install, it's gonna mention something named pip. It's supposed to come with it installed, but if you do pip, it should show up all of this. And if it does, that means you have it installed, which is great. CLS, yeah, there we go. If you want to clear your console, you just type in CLS, clears it out for you. Great command. But if you get like an error saying pip is not a recognized command, I can't remember, then it's not installed. Which in this case, then you need to go to this little guide I found on the internet. Scroll down. And what you want to do is that you just want to curl it. Grab this curl link right here. You just want to right click it, not control V. You just want to right click it. It's going to pull it up right there. We're just going to press enter now. And then that's going to download. I already have the latest version, so we're already good on that. Print CLS. So once you got that downloaded, you just want to have it set up by getting this part, Python get pip.py, and then you want to press enter. Or in this case, you want to change Python to py because we're using the Windows version. So now it's installing pip. I already have the latest version, so we're good. It's installed. And now we can go ahead and install our packages. So let's go ahead and start explaining what pip does. So what pip does is that it's pretty much your package manager. If you need to download a package for your code, you're going to most likely do it through pip. It's the easiest way to get a module. So in this case, I want to get the discord.py module, which is the wrapper for the Discord API, which is how we're going to communicate to Discord's API, which then communicates to our Discord bot, which lets us run commands and have it work properly. So, how do we install stuff with pip? It's pretty simple. So if you go to this link right here, discord.py.read the docs, it's going to pull up the main page. We want to go to getting started and then introduction. Once we get to introduction, it's going to show us the different ways we can install it. We're using Windows, so we want to grab this. We're going to copy that. Pretty much what this is telling us is that we're using Python version 3. I can't remember what M is for, but that's also important. And then we're running pip install u discord.py. This is going to install that package to our computer. As you see, I already have it installed, so it's just telling me it's already installed. I have the latest version, so we're good on that. So that's installed. We can go and start working on Discord as soon as we get a couple other things set up. So we're also going to install this package, Python decouple. So pretty much what this does is that it lets us use environment variables. And you're probably wondering, what are environment variables? Pretty much for computers, when you start it up, it has variables inside that are saved to the operating system itself. This lets you access those variables. So why would I want to access variables on the operating system? Well, good question. You can actually sub your own variables in the operating system. Or you can also use a .env file, which we're going to be using for now. Um, this is mainly used for security purposes. And we'll get to more of that in a second once we start setting it up. But it's very useful. And it's just kind of a brief explanation. So we're just going to copy this right here. Pip install Python decouple. Pull up our command prompt. Right click. Press enter. And in my case, I've already have it installed. So it's just telling me it's already installed. But once it gets done installing, that's pretty much it for setting up Python. Getting your packages ready. Having pip. All that's done. Last thing we need to do is that we need to get our IDE, or Integrated Development Environment. So what an IDE does is that it pretty much assists you in multiple ways when you're coding. Whether that's showing up, like in this case right here, it shows a bunch of different things you can do when you're coding. Helps you with typos, shows you if there's like an error, it runs your code, and if there's an error in your code, it'll let you know. It's a great tool for beginner coding. Now, once you go to the website, it's gonna show you, hey, download for this for your operating system, or if you don't see it, just click this arrow thing right here, and it'll show you the Mac, Windows, Linux, all that. In my case, I already have it installed or download, I mean. So we're just gonna click the run button, close that. So pretty much once you have it open, you just want to accept the license agreement. You just want to click these two. This just adds a path. This is pretty much like environment variable, as I was talking about. So you will definitely want to add to your path. Um, this will register as your default code editor for like JavaScript files, Python, stuff like that. I recommend you do that so you can just double click on the file and it'll just pull it up in Visual Studio Code. And just other things, it's going to show up. You just want to press install, and it's going to do that for you. As soon as it gets done, all right, we're done. Finish. Launch Visual Studio Code. It's going to pull this up. It's going to show us a welcome. We're just going to exit out of that. So we got our IDE. Now there's a few more things that we need to do, or one more thing technically. One of the other one's optional, but we'll get into that in a second. So that we need to install extensions. Now what are extensions? Extensions are pretty much extensions for Visual Studio Code that offer many different things. So if you go down here to the bottom left of where my mouse is, or if you do Control Shift X, it didn't work for me, you're gonna see all the extensions or the extensions page. What we're gonna be grabbing is the Python. If you type it in here, Python right here. This is an extension by Microsoft. It gives Python support for Visual Studio Code. It is a recommend. I highly recommend that you download this because without it, you're going to be typing in code. It's not going to be able to pull up like, hey, this or that. It's not going to really have any support for running it, so you'll have to set that up yourself. You'll see an install button over here somewhere. Click on that. It's going to install. It's going to be great. And then the other one, this is optional now, is Discord Presence. Now what Discord Presence does is pretty much interacts with your Discord. So you see right here Visual Studio Code idling. That's what this extension does. Pretty much gives a presence to what you're doing on Discord. So let's say I'm working on a JavaScript file. It's gonna pull that sucker up right here and it's gonna make it look pretty cool to your friends. So it's not required, but if you wanna, look cool or like, oh wow, he's working on a JavaScript file. Oh, he's a nerd. Then yeah, this is what you want to get right here. But once you have that installed, close that. We can go ahead and start. We can start setting up our bot. So I'm gonna start closing all these right here. So we're gonna make the bot itself now. Everything's set up. We got our code editor ready. Python's installed. Pip's installed. We got our packages installed. All we need to do is create the bot itself, and then we can start coding. So if you go to discord.com/developers/applications, it's going to take you to this page right here. And you're probably wondering what all these are. These are different bots I have. Only 3 of them work right now. The rest of these, I just haven't deleted them yet. But this is where you have your applications, whether it's for games or Discord bots or whatever you're working on. This is where you're going to find them. But today, we're going to make a new one. So if you go to your top right here, under New Application, click on that, and you're going to name your bot, which in this case, we're going to name it Tutorial Bot. So once you name your bot, you can name whatever you want. In my case, we're just going to do Tutorial Bot for name's sake. So once you have your name, didn't mean to do that. Once you have your name, just click Create, and you're going to have your bot right here. So this is not actually a bot yet. This is just an application. So to make it an actual bot, we need to go down here to Bot. Click on that, and this is going to be the bot page. Now we need to go ahead and turn this into a bot. So we're going to click on Add Bot, which is right over here. Now it's just gonna tell us, hey, once you turn this into a bot, you cannot reverse that action, so it will always be a bot. You know, but we want a bot, so we're just gonna click yes, do it. Once you click that, then you're gonna have your bot pulled up right here. You have your token, all this stuff right here. So there are a few things we need to do. Um, we need to scroll down here, and we just need to do intents and activate a couple of them. Um, we will get to intents and what they actually do in a later date, but I highly, highly, highly recommend that you have intents activated, which we're going to do. So we're going to activate presence and server members, and then we're going to save those changes. And once that gets done saving, then let's switch the settings. If you want to change the icon of your Discord bot, which for right now is just going to have this default logo, you can do so right here. Pull up an image, JPEG, PNG, whatever you need. You can add that right here. If you want to change the name, you can do that right here. It's pretty cool. And then down here is your bot token. Um, we'll get to that in just a second. We got to set everything up first before we can use that bot token. But pretty much it's going to help us link our code to the bot. But now that we have that set up, we can now actually get started with setting up the bot. So on your desktop, you want to make a folder. I already have one right here called tutorial. You can name it your bot, whatever you want. Just make sure it's easy to remember. So pull up Visual Studio Code, and we're just going to go to File and Open Folder. Go to your desktop or wherever you want to save your folder, and then you want to go find your folder right here. Select Folder, and this is going to be your workspace now. This is where we're going to be putting all the code for our bot and how we're going to run it on our PC at least. So start us off, you'll see the name of your workspace right here or your folder. In this case, it's tutorial. So everything we do in here is going to be in that folder right here. So we're going to right click it and we're going to make a new folder. And we're going to name it SRC, or as we call it, source. This is where we're going to put everything related to the bot in here. Now you're probably wondering, why just not put everything in the folder? Well, let's say if you want to later upload it to GitHub or something, you just want everything to be in the source for simplicity. So we're just going to do that right here. So once you got your source folder in here, what you can see right here, we got a source folder. You just want to right click on that source folder and you want to do new file. Click on that and we're going to name the file index.py. You can name it whatever you want, index, bot, server, but only thing we need to worry about is that .py. So that just means it's a Python extension. This helps the computer recognize that, hey, this is Python code in this file and not just a normal text file. So once you do that, you want to press enter. So now we have a Python code, or a Python file. So now we can go ahead and start writing the code for our bot. So to start this off, we're going to go back to the discord.py website, back to the main page, and we're going to scroll down to getting started, and then quick start. And this is going to give us code for a minimal bot. So we're going to pull that up right here. All right, and then let's see, I'm trying to see how to, I think it's Control Plus. Yeah, there we go. So if you want to increase the size of the font, like make it easier to see, that's how you do it. Just press Control and then plus plus or minus minus to decrease it. But in this case, we want it to be super big because now you can see it. So to start us off, we're going to import Discord. This is that module we installed with pip. Now you see it in Discord. If you don't see it, then what you need to do is that you need to exit out of your Visual Studio and then open it up back again. it should register the modules that you downloaded. So if you download any modules while VS Code is open, you don't see them, that's probably why. So once we get done with that, okay. So once you get done with that, we're just gonna go ahead and oh, phone fell off. So once we get started with that, we're just gonna go ahead. Not yet. We're just gonna do client equals Discord dot, and this is like with a capital C client. We're going to put these parameters in here, just blanks, but you just want to put these in here. So what we just did was that we made a variable. What does a variable do? It's pretty much a piece of code that contains more code. That sounds a bit weird, but I'm about to explain it. So this right here is how we get the Discord client. And what we did was that we told the Python code that, hey, whenever I say client, I don't actually mean just this word client. I mean Discord dot client. And how is this going to help? Why not just use Discord dot client? Well, let's say I want to get the client username. If I didn't have this variable, then I would just have to do this every single time. Discord dot client capital C dot user or help didn't mean to do that, or Discord dot client dot guilds dot size. Then I want to get the size of the guilds. You know, that's just a pain. I don't even think this part works, but you know, that's just a pain. Whereas I can just do client dot user. That's it. Just client dot user, and it'll grab the user of the client, or in this case, the bot. So every time, that's why we want to do client as a variable, so that we don't have to do Discord dot client and all this crap. You just do client dot user, and it gets the bot's username. Or if you just want to do client, it gets all the information for the client for you. And now that we have that set up, we're going to go ahead and do this. Let's see, make sure I got that right. Yeah. So go and type this along with me. So I just wrote like 3 lines of code, and you probably have no idea what that means, and that's fine. But I'm gonna explain it all to you right now. So what we're doing is that we're registering an event to the bot, client.event. So when the bot gets to this part of the code, it's going to see, oh, this is an event. So I need to look out for that. But it doesn't know what type of event until we get to right here. So async def onReady is a function. Now the reason we name it onReady is that with this client.event, it's set up to look for a specific function, which in this case, onReady. So what does onReady do? OnReady is pretty much the function that executes when the bot is online. So when the bot is online and it's ready to go, when you first turn it on, it's going to send the event, hey, onReady, and it's going to look for the onReady function. If it finds it, which in this case we have it right here, and then we're going to use this I believe it's colon, pretty much like this. If you hold shift and then you press the key next to L, it's going to pull this up. This indicates that this is a function and that we want to press enter right here. Now what some people like to do is that they like to do this. You type down here. You can't do that with Python. Once you press enter, you got to start on this line right here. That way it registers. Otherwise, it's going to freak out and mess up. That's just the syntax of Python. But yeah, this defines this that, hey, when the bot is an event, when it's on ready, run this code right here. So what code are we going to run then? It's simple. We're just going to do a print function. This is going to call the print function and then print to the console whatever we type in here. Now, what console do you mean? Well, I'm talking about our terminal down here. So if you do terminal and then new terminal or control shift and then the tilde key, which is the key next to one if you hold down shift, or you can just, do terminal, new terminal, it's gonna bring up a terminal. And what this does is that it's gonna pretty much be our console and what we use when we run our code. So if I type in bot is ready, so when we start the code, it's going to say bot is ready. But we wanted to say more than that. We want to know what bot we're running, what bot we're connected to. So if you follow this along right here, if you follow this along right here, all right, we're just going to simply do we have logged in as, and we're just going to do 0.user.format and then client. Make sure I got that right. Yeah. So what we have right here is a little string with a variable inside. That's what the 0.user is. So pretty much what 0 represents is that it represents a variable. And we're formatting that 0 to actually be the client. So 0 is actually client. Now what's with this .user? If you remember when I typed in client.user and then I grabbed the user, that's exactly what it's going to do. So it's going to change that 0 to client with the format function, and it's going to be client.user, which is just going to grab the username of the bot itself. So instead of saying we have logged in as 0.user or an error, it's going to say we have logged in as, oh, we don't have the bot installed. Oh, we'll do that later. We're going to have the user be tutorialbot 3355. That's what it's going to say. So that's pretty cool. So this is how we're going to tell when the bot's ready, it's online, and that we know what bot we're logged into. So that's pretty much it for the onReady event. Now we're going to set up a new event, a second one. We're going to tell the bot, hey, this is a client event or a bot event, as some people say. And we're just going to set up another function. Now what's this function going to be called? This one's going to be on message. And this one's more self-explanatory. So pretty much, I wish you would stop doing that. So pretty much, every time the bot gets a message in a server or any server that it reads, it has to be a message in a channel that the bot has access to. So if you send a message and the bot doesn't have access to the channel, it's not going to trigger. But if you send a message and the bot's in that channel that you sent that message into, then this is going to activate. So if I type in that, and the bot's in this channel, which I don't have in the server yet, we'll get to that in a second, then that means this function right here is going to activate. So what do we want this function to do? And that's great. So we're going to go ahead and we're just going to send them a simple message. But how do we make sure it's a message? Well, that's simple. We're going to grab the message parameter. So certain functions have certain parameters, which if you don't know what function does, you can always look up in the PNW docs right here, in the documentation. You can always find it very easy. It tells you like what certain functions have. In this case, it's message. This is pretty much the message that got sent. So, what do we want to do? Simply, we're going to tell it with await. Await's pretty much going to tell our bot what to do. So every time you wanted to send a message, you want to do await. Every time you want to ban or kick someone from your server, you want to do await. It's more detailed and it's part of a longer process, or a group called asynchronous or synchronous, which I don't know, we'll get into later, but it's kind of hard to explain, but it's just a simple factor. It just tells the bot, just do it, whatever you want it to do. So in this case, we want to do message dot channel dot send hello. And that's pretty much it. But I think we can do more than just that. So let's just set up an if statement. So an if statement's pretty much a condition. So let's say you're playing a video game and you have to go save the princess from the dragon. So how the video game checks to see if you rescue the princess is does conditions. So to complete the quest, you have to meet certain conditions. Or like say, you can't talk to the king until you save the princess and kill the dragon. So when you go to try and talk to the king, it's gonna check did you kill the dragon and did you save the princess. So that's pretty much. Oh yeah, and if those conditions meet, then you can talk to the king. If those conditions have not met, then you cannot. So that's pretty much what an if statement does. So what's our if statement? Well, what we want to do is that we want to get the message dot content. Let me make sure I got this right. Yeah, starts with boom. All right. So this is pretty much our if statement right here. So what we're doing is that we're grabbing the message object, which you're going to hear that a lot. It's pretty much the object itself. So when you see message, it's not actually the content of the message, it's actually the message with a bunch of different data inside of an object. Think of it like message is a box and there's like a bunch of goodies in there. So what we're doing is that we're grabbing the object itself, the box, message, and we're just going to grab the content of the message. So in this case, if I were to send all this, that is the content of the message. Starts with pretty much is a function that's going to look for a specific word, phrase, sentence at the very beginning of the message. So in this case, we want the starts with function to look for $, hello. So in this case, if we do hello or hello and then a bunch of different characters, these two right here, they will register and they will meet that condition for the if statement. But if I do a bunch of garble, message or lines, whatever, and then do $hello, it's not going to register. So that's what starts with does. And then we want to run this colon right here. And it's pretty much the same thing as a function. We want to make sure that our code starts over here and not under the if. Otherwise, it's not going to register and it's going to start freaking out. So that's pretty much the end of it. So now there's one last thing we need to do before we can actually start our bot, or actually two things. Actually, no, we'll just do one. So we're going to go to this boy right here. This is your bot token. We're going to click to reveal it. So what this does, this is the token that you use on your server, which we'll type in right now, which is client.run. We should stop doing that. So client.run, then you put your token in here, just like that. And that's what you use, and that's what you use to connect to your bot. But there are a few things you need to know about your token. You do not want to share it with anyone, period. This is anyone with this token can access the bot itself. And I do not recommend sharing this with anyone, especially if your bot is going to be a part of different alliance servers or community servers. Because if someone grabs this token, they can write their own script and have the bot do whatever you want. So let me give you an example. Let's say you have a custom bot in your alliance server that has administrative privileges. It has access to everything. Access to everything. Oh, I can't talk today. So, let's say your token got leaked and someone malicious got their hands on that token. What they can do with that token is that they can make their own script to log every message sent in specific channels. Let's say you have a super secret high gov channel with Ospec that can get your alliance in trouble if it got leaked. Well, your bot has access to that channel with the administrative permissions, and someone has that token. So they can just set up a logger to log every single message sent in there. And then they have access to every single message sent in there. So they know about your Ospec, and they can leak it right now. And your alliance would be in so much trouble, FA wise, might even start another global war, for all you know. That's why you don't want to share your token with anyone. Period. Now, in the case it does get leaked or you accidentally share it, you got this fancy button called Regenerate. It's going to regenerate your token and pop up a new one. Now, in my case, you see it right now, but when this video is uploaded, it's going to be a different token, so don't even bother. So, with that being said, we need to do one last thing, and that's invite our bot to the server. Well, how do we do that? It's very simple. So if you go to the OAuth 2 page right here, we just want to make an invite link for our bot. So we have the OAuth 2 URL generator. This is how you generate the invite link to your bot. So what you want to do is you want to press on bot, and then boom, just like that, link's already made. However, we need to add permissions. I highly recommend you do not give it administrator. You don't want the bot to have access to every single channel unless, you know, it's like your own test bot, you want to mess around with it, that's fine. But if you plan on having your bot become, go public and go to other servers for security reasons, don't give it administrator. Just give it all the other ones it needs or whatever your bot requires for it to work in the server. Just do those instead. Don't give it administrator. But in my case, this bot's only going to be in my personal server. So we can go ahead and just give it administrator. So once you've done that, you have your link ready. So we're going to copy that, open a new tab, paste it. We're going to press enter. Then once it loads, any second now, dang, it's taking a bit. You're going to see just like any other bot, it's just going to pull this up. So what we want to do, we want to have it go join tutorial, our server, continue. It's going to ask what permissions you want to give it. When in this case, administrator. We're going to authorize it. It's going to make sure we're a human, not a bot ourselves. Once that's done, then boom, we're authorized. If you go back to your server, and then boom, you're going to see your bot right there with its own bot role and everything set up. So now, what do we want to do? We want to run it, but leave your code like this. I'm going to give you a very specific example of what not to do because I intentionally left a very important piece of code out of this starter file just for demonstration reasons. So I'm just going to comment all of this out. So what we want to do is that channel.send. You can follow along if you want, but this is just a demonstration. So what we're setting this up to do is that every time the message is sent, doesn't matter, it doesn't matter when it's sent, every time a message is sent, period, I want the bot to say, what's up? So let's go ahead and do it. When you run your bot, you're going to wait for it to load. You're going to see it down here in the terminal. Give it a second, and then you should see your onReady event start. And it's going to print out that we have logged in to your console. It might take a second. Depends on your internet connection. Sometimes it's fast, sometimes it's slow. Come on now. Okay, let's try it again one more time. There we go. We have logged in. Now, if you followed this and haven't changed anything, your bot's online. It's working. That's great. But let's show off what happens if we just, you know, if we just run this code right here and leave out a very tiny piece of code that's also very helpful. So we're going to type in what's up. Whoa, what's the bot doing? Why is it doing that? Well, remember I said every message? Every single message, including the bot's message. So what we've done is that we've set up an infinite loop pretty much. And that bot's not going to stop sending messages because it's going to read the latest message. Oh, hey, it's a message. Send this. How do we stop this then? Very simple. Small piece of code right here. And we're going to go and run this if statement real quick. So if message.author, that's the person who sent the message. All right. So if the message author we want to equal to, which is two equal signs, client.user return. So pretty much what we're saying is, we're going to close this terminal, shut our bot off because that's annoying. So what we're saying if the message author is the bot itself, if the bot sent the message, then return. And that's how you're going to stop that infinite loop. So now if we run the bot again, if it's going to load this time, come on. There we go. So now if we just type in what's up, it's only going to say it once. If I do it again, it's only going to say it once. So always make sure that you have this piece of code right here to prevent your bot from having what we call an infinite loop. It's very helpful. So now we're just going to delete this and we have the entire minimal bot set up. So what does this do? Well, when it's online, it's going to give us this is going to tell us that we are logged in as whatever bot we're connected to through this client.run with the bot token. Then every time a message is sent, we're going to run this event. We're going to check and see if the bot is if the bot's the author of the message. If the bot is the message author, or in this case, the message author is the bot, then we want to return. Do not run the rest of the code. Now, if it's not the bot and it's an actual user, then we want to run this code right here. So we're checking the very beginning of the message. We're grabbing the message, the box itself, the message box. We're grabbing the content of the message, and we're running a function called starts with to check and see if the message starts with hello. If it does, then we want it to send hello back. If it does not, then it just skips and ends that function. Pretty neat. So now if we run the bot, boom, just like that. Now if I type in, it's not going to do anything. But if I do $, hello, then it's gonna say hello back at us. And that's pretty cool. So pretty much we have our first bot set up. It's online, working. It's in our server. That's pretty cool. Now, I forgot to mention, I'll probably put that in the editor's note. You're supposed to save your file. So in this case, save or Control S. I'll probably put that in as the editor's note when we start. But yeah, that's pretty much how you set up a bot. Now this is just a very basics. We're gonna be changing a lot of things in here, so don't think we're just gonna be building off of this. Next episode's gonna be very lengthy as we're gonna be tackling into setting up a proper bot with its own command handler, and all that good stuff. But this is a good place to leave it off. Nice way to dip your toes into the coding world and see how we set up Discord bots and work with Python pretty much. So thank you very much for watching. Um, have fun making your bot and see you in the next episode.